Okay, glaciated landscapes in Scotland are managed by far more bodies than just national parks. We have two national park authorities. We've got Loch Lomond and the Trossachs, and we also have the Grampians. But within these national parks, many of the problems are actually managed and solved by other agencies. So what we're going to do is look at three of them, and you should pause this video as I go through it and take some notes from each of the three agencies. And you'll find that in your main assignment, you'll see that they're listed there. So we're going to look at the Forestry Commission to start with, and you want to listen to what the problem is and then write some sentences to explain how how the agency actually solves those problems. So let's have a look at the Forestry Commission. Now, they are a public body, just like the National Park. What that means is they're funded by the government. And some of the problems that they manage is a lot of these footpaths actually pass through their forests. As we can see here, we've got some walkers on the Conic Hill, and they're walking through some forestry that happens to be where the footpath is going. So what would the Forestry Commission be doing here? Well, the Forestry Commission is responsible for laying down the hard surface which protects the footpath and slows down the rate of erosion. And they'll also manage drainage ditches either side of this footpath to ensure that water can easily flow off the path, which will give the path a much longer lifespan. This obviously benefits the walkers because it makes it easier for them to walk, and it also allows people of all ages, as we can see in the photograph, to be able to do that. Here's some other things that the Forestry Commission does. So forested areas that are owned by the Forestry Commission are very popular with mountain bikers, as we can see here. And the problem with mountain bikes, though, is if they're not controlled properly, they can cause quite significant damage both to paths and to forestry environments in national parks. So what the Forestry Commission has done in many of their forests is build these mountain biking tracks. And what that tends to do is it attracts lots of mountain bikers to just this area, and it allows them to give them an environment which they can mountain bike in and enjoy that environment, but it keeps them off other areas of the forest and other areas of the national park. So it concentrates the mountain bikers into one area because the Forestry Commission is providing this particular service. Final thing that they do is you'll find in a lot of national park areas, they provide a lot of bins for just people that happen to be passing through their forests. And that's just really to manage littering and waste in the national park. Right, a second thing, another agency that exists in Scotland that has a role in managing problems in national parks is SEPA. So SEPA has a lot of different roles. They're called the Scottish Environmental Protection Agency. But one of their roles is to deal with issues that relate to flooding. And wherever there are water systems in a national park, they will manage those water systems to ensure that the rivers aren't flooding and that property is not getting damaged. Other things that SEPA will do is if there's pollution or waste being dropped into rivers within a national park, then they will monitor water quality. And if they find that there's a problem with pollution, they will bring in restrictions to reduce that problem. Let's have a look at the third agency. Now, this is a voluntary agency. This is a charity, the National Trust. Now, there's lots of problems in Loch Lomond and the Trossachs National Park. One of them is there's huge amounts of dog waste that we can see being dumped near the car park here. So what the National Trust is doing to manage this problem is they're providing dog waste bins, as well as free bags that you can often get as you leave the car park, and you can use them to collect your dog waste along the way. And that helps reduce the pollution from dog waste along these footpaths. This is often paid for by the National Trust actually having little parking charges for people who want to park in their car park. Another thing that the National Trust is doing is in Loch Lomond, you find a lot of what's called rhododendron. That's spelt that way. And these are invasive North American plants. You see them all across Scotland. And unfortunately, as they grow, they kill off all native species. So what the National Trust does is they employ people to cut them back continually and remove them, which allows native species to thrive and grow in the national park. So what they're doing there is they're managing the problem of an invasive species from taking over and killing off native plants. Final thing that the National Trust is doing is they actually bought Ben Lomond. Now, this is the highest mountain in this national park we can see here. It's very popular with walkers. And the reason they actually bought the whole mountain was this problem. Prior to buying it, it was such a popular mountain because it was in the Loch Lomond area that it was starting to get severely eroded. And by buying it, they're now able to monitor and maintain the paths that lead up the national park, as well as employing people that are paid for by the charity to clean up the mountain at the end of a long, busy season. So what you see now is 3 different agencies, all involved in solving different problems. What you want to do is make sure you've got detailed notes that explore the different problems and how these different agencies manage them.